What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm hanging out in the truck here with Miss Eva. I think there she is. Matt's getting a haircut and we're just chilling in the truck. I think she's gonna be wanting to eat soon, so I'm just waiting with her. She's asleep though. So I thought today's video, I'm having trouble holding this camera in the right place. I thought today's video I could talk about my breastfeeding journey, my struggles with breastfeeding, because it has not been easy. I've wanted to give up multiple times now, and so I just kind of wanted to throw it all out there for y'all. So I'll start from the beginning. Whenever I had Eva, we were doing skin to skin. So at the birthing center, they put her on your chest immediately, and then they did like the whole fundal massage thing and all of that stuff. And then they brought her back over, and we did skin to skin, and we were starting with breastfeeding. And as a new mom, I had never done, I mean, we learned about breastfeeding in our centering class, which they gave us really good training and coaching on it. They talked about it really thoroughly, so I understood what it would be like, but of course you just have to do it. So we started trying breastfeeding, and any of y'all moms know it was painful to begin with. It was weird. She was having trouble staying latched on. I mean, she's fresh out of the womb, and it's crazy to me that they know automatically to start feeding, but she was having trouble latching on. So the some of the ladies that were there, I think they were student midwives, were helping me with her latch, and she wasn't latching on. It was like really painful. So we kind of stopped with that for a little bit and then tried again later, and we kept having trouble trying to get a latch just because it was so new to both of us. But eventually we did get it, and I know she wasn't getting anything from me at that point because it takes a couple days for your milk to come in, and so she might be waking up. It's okay. It's okay. She has been asleep. She's taking a real good nap. But so she wasn't going to be getting a lot from me the first couple of days, and I knew that. So we went home. I would breastfeed her or try to. My nipples were sore and they were painful. They didn't bleed or anything like that, but it was so painful to the point where I would cry whenever she was latching on, and then sometimes she would get like a shallow latch, and so it was a tough couple days. And I know that that's very normal, and it just takes time and practice for both of us to get it down. And so we went back to our 2-day checkup, and they weighed her, and she was 7'11". She was 7 pounds 11 ounces whenever she was born, but she had gone down to, I think, 7 pounds 4 ounces or 6 ounces, something like that. She lost a good amount in the first 2 days, more than what they like to see there. So they let us know that we're going to need to start supplementing with formula, at least until we get the hang of breastfeeding, until my milk comes in, because it definitely wasn't in at that point. But they watched me breastfeed. They gave me some tips, which really, really helped to get a better latch, for her to get a better latch. And they reassured me, it's not easy. Everybody struggles with this. So we started supplementing with formula. And the way that we did that is, while I was breastfeeding, we would get formula in a little tube. It's called an S&S. It's like a little syringe, and it's got a like a little plastic tube that comes out. So what we would do is take that little tube, put it in her mouth while she's feeding, and then just kind of squeeze it in as she's feeding. So it's essentially like she's still getting it all from me, but we're having another source add to it. So we were doing that. It took like twice as long for feedings to happen, which was tough in itself. And I always had to have Matt help me, because if I'm breastfeeding, I was having to hold her, was having to hold my breast while she was latching on and everything, and then trying to get that tube in at the same time, and then squeezing that as she's feeding. Sometimes she would come off the latch. It was just tough. It was really tough. So he had to help with all of the feedings, and so the first week and a half, that's what we did exclusively. So we went back for a checkup a couple days later, and she ended up gaining back, I think, back to, she was a little bit past, so she ended up being 7 pounds 14 ounces, I think. So she gained weight back and then some. So they said what we were doing was great, just keep supplementing. My milk had not come in yet that I know of, and this was like 5 days past birth. And so they were saying that it could just be that you don't produce enough. They wanted me to pump after every feeding. So what they instructed me to do from there is after she finishes feeding, get hooked up to a breast pump and empty out everything that's in there that might be in there to help let my body know that we need more to up the production. So, and then she told me to take a couple of supplements. She recommended things like brewer's yeast. I think there's something called goat's rue extract or goat's rue, I don't know, something like that. There were a handful of them. A lot of them were they're the typical herbs that are recommended for breastfeeding. And so found a couple supplements, started taking those, and it was like my milk production just was not happening. So I would feed her and we would still supplement, and then I would pump after I fed her, and I was getting anywhere from like 3 to 8 milliliters. And that's, I mean, an ounce is about 30 milliliters. And at this point she was needing at least, I think, 1.5 ounces per feeding in her first week or two. So we were having to supplement a good amount of formula. So I was pumping, and first of all, I was exhausted from birth and lack of sleep. I still am, but I don't know, it was, the first couple weeks are kind of a blur, but we were struggling with supplementing, and then of course, from my point of view, I'm not producing enough, so I was being really hard on myself because I wasn't able to give her what I had intended to, what I had hoped to be able to give her, just because I had in my head that we were going to breastfeed, that we were going to exclusively breastfeed, and that's how it was going to be. I never expected to have issues with my supply. And so, so we kept supplementing, and anything that we pumped, or that I pumped, we would put in the little SNS and add it to the next feeding. So she would get like whatever from me, which I'm guessing was maybe 10 milliliters, maybe 1/3 of an ounce, and then we would add in like 6 to 8 milliliters on the next feeding. And then after that tube was done, we would add formula and then supplement the rest of it. So y'all can guess that feedings they took a long time. They took like anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So this is something that we talked to our eyes are dry, our lactation consultant about, and I think she was just encouraging us to do our best. She said, you're doing what you can. There's nothing wrong with supplementing with formula, and I understand that. It's just being fed is the best. So whether that's breast milk, whether that's formula, just however she gets fed is best. And so I understood that, but I was still bummed that I wasn't able to breastfeed exclusively like I had hoped to. So, but she's still gaining, she was gaining weight, once we started supplementing. And so as far as production goes, after those first couple weeks, I have, more recently in the last like 2 weeks, I've been seeing increases in my supply, which has been really, really encouraging, but it's still not enough to where we don't supplement. I'm still not producing enough to get off of the formula. We're still supplementing with formula. But after about I'd say 2.5 weeks, I was exhausted mentally and physically from all of the feeding and just kind of the toll that it takes on you to go through that whole process of feeding her. And we're feeding her I think at this point, like 10 times a day. And so we would have to go through this whole process of, she would latch on, I would breastfeed for a little bit, then we would add the milk to the SNS, and then we would try to get it in, and sometimes it wouldn't get in all the way, and sometimes it would like spill out of her mouth, or we might do too much and it would spill out, and it was exhausting. And so I was like, I'm gonna keep breastfeeding, but after she's done here, we're gonna switch over to bottles. And Matt and I had made that decision. He suggested it earlier, but I was still like trying to hold on to just breastfeeding. And I was like, bottles are bad. I don't know why I had it in my head. So we tried that the first time. She breastfed for a while, and then whenever we got formula in a bottle, and then Matt started feeding her the bottle, and I pumped while he finished the feeding, and it saved like half an hour. it saved a bunch of my sanity, and she took to the bottle like no problem. And so we were like, okay, we should do this, because just mentally it took a lot of stress off of me, because I wasn't sitting there for over an hour trying to feed her, and then I would pump, and then I would basically clean up, and it would be time to do it again. And I was just like, I can't do this. I had no time to do anything. And so we saved a good amount of time, and it was just more efficient. It just made more sense. Mentally, I think it helped me so much. That could have helped with my production in general, is adding in the bottles. And so, but yeah, so since taking those supplements, I'm drinking a ton of water, trying to maintain my stress levels. God, my eyes are just so dry today. This is just me. I'm just showing you guys real life. So I'm not going to edit this. And so, my production started to increase, and so now I'll pump anywhere from, I'd say the minimum is like 12 to 15 milliliters, when before it was like 0 to 3. So like half an ounce to a little over an ounce, just depending on the time of day. So that's very, very encouraging. So I haven't given up, and things have gotten better, and it's really, really encouraging that they have gotten better. I don't know exactly what's helped so much with production. I'm hoping that whatever it is, it continues to help. I'm trying to pump a ton throughout the day. It's really hard to, like yesterday, I think I only pumped 3 times, and that's at 15-minute intervals, or sessions, pumping sessions. But the average that I try to get is at least 5 to 6, which I know is still not a ton. I've talked to a lot of moms that pumped just basically all day. But that's what I've been able to do, alongside balancing everything else going on. So I think that's helped tremendously. The supplement probably has helped a little bit, and then I've been eating those like just lactation cookies, just the ones that you buy at H-E-B or Amazon. And then drinking a ton of water. What else? I mean, just the general rules and recommendations of increasing your supply. I'm trying to get in all of them. Like, the supplement has fenugreek and the goat's rue and a couple other things, and then the cookies have oatmeal and they have brewer's yeast. So there's a good amount of mixture that I have going on that I think have helped, and also just not giving up. I've lightened up on myself about it. If I have a session where I don't pump a lot, I try not to worry about it. I just move on. And so what we've been doing with the breast milk is I'll pump, and then I'll combine 2 or 3 sessions, and then we give that to her in a bottle, and that usually equals anywhere from an ounce to 3 ounces. So it's been really encouraging to see increases, and I'm just really glad that I haven't given up. I think that I would have given up if we didn't have the support of the lactation consultant and the birthing center, and then of you guys. So a lot of y'all on Instagram have messaged me and reached out and let me know that y'all struggled, and just hearing y'all's stories has encouraged me just to not give up, because I've wanted so many times to give up and just be like, we're gonna do just bottles and formula, which is fine, because I know a lot of moms choose that, or I know a lot of moms have to do that, but because this was my original plan, I'm trying to stick it out as much as I can, and just because it's what we're choosing to do. And so that's kind of where I'm at. It's been a struggle. It's mentally been really, really tough. Sometimes it's frustrating for the both of us, because she's latched on. She's trying to get food. She's hungry. There's not a lot coming out, and she gets mad and she cries, and there have been times where she's crying and I'm crying, and so but we haven't given up. And what I'll usually do, if she's really, really hungry and frustrated, then I'll have a bottle and I'll give her a little bit of the bottle, and once she calms down a little bit, then we'll breastfeed, and we'll switch back and forth between the breastfeeding and the bottle, and that seems to help. I'm still trying to pump after as many feeding sessions as I can, taking all my supplements, trying to drink a ton of water, trying not to overdo any type of activity or exercise. So it's essentially a full-time job between feeding her and pumping. And then cleaning bottles at the end of the day, I would say it's a good 8 hours, if not 9 or 10. It's just crazy. I just had no idea. Like, I knew, but I didn't know. And my respect for moms, and especially moms of several kids, you guys are amazing. I can't say this enough. You guys are amazing. And I just want to encourage anybody out there that is struggling or might be struggling with supply issues, find some support. So find people that will encourage you and uplift you and help you, because I could not do this if I didn't have support. I would have given up by myself. Don't give up. If it's something that you truly want to do and it's something that you want to continue to stick out, keep trying. It's tough, but just knowing that I'm giving her what I can from my supply is enough for me to keep going. Even if it were that 5 or 6 milliliters, I would keep going because I know that it's so good for her. And like I said, it was our original plan. So I keep thinking she's waking up and then she goes back to sleep. It's a really good nap. But yeah, and I know that it's going to get better whether the supply continues to increase or not. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's ever going to be enough. We might have to supplement forever. She's not going to breastfeed forever. We might have to supplement for the duration that we are breastfeeding, but that's okay because I know that she's getting what I can give her. I'm not giving up, and that's that. So thank you guys for listening. Yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed. Make sure and hit that thumbs up. So subscribe if you are new. I'm going to talk about just about everything on this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.